English would be analyze particular elements of a story or drama for English, and for math, use data from a sample survey to estimate a population mean or proportion.
Some of the major issues with this program are, first of all, how it was implemented. A lot of the states didn't really have much say in what they wanted to do individually with their state control over education. It essentially broadens federal control into the education system of states, and the Obama administration's Race to the Top program bribed these states into adopting these standards. There were $4.35 billion in tax funds that were offered, and they either had to accept these standards or receive none of the funds. Fiscally, a state just has to adopt these standards to get those funds. The standards revolve more around competition among other nations and a genuine desire to create reform that will improve education is tailored specifically to the United States. These standards are all, you continually hear Jamie mention about college readiness and how we need to outperform the students of other countries, but all that is focusing on standardized tests. How do you measure education? How do you measure how much someone has learned? Does a test truly show that an individual is knowledgeable now because they scored highly on their ACT? The standards take away from a teacher's ability to teach because the Common Core standards constrict teachers to having to focus on these certain different key aspects of these standards rather than be able to be innovative and create their own methods of teaching various material. They focus on a flooding of information to students in order to outperform students on standardized tests. It's all about, she mentioned, being able to analyze literature. That's straight from the ACT reading test. It's all about raising those test scores so we look better as a country. It's not about inspiring a thirst for knowledge in the students. More gifted students are going to fall to mediocrity with these standards. If you can meet those standards, then why matter anymore? Once you meet the standards that make the U.S. look better, they're not going to focus as much. Education should be tailored to the individual. Every American does not need to know trigonometry. Education should extend beyond the classroom into the skilled trades. These set standards are going to force every American student to learn these different educational things. And there are some students that are better off spending time in a skilled trade knowledge learning experience so they could enter the work. That's how they enter the workforce more readily. Teachers have to focus on meeting these standards rather than teaching. And teaching is never something that can be measured. The relationship between teacher and student and how that teacher presents themselves in the classroom and presents their material isn't something that can be measured through research. A Tennessee student recently, or in 2013, he went to the Tennessee Board of Education and presented why he was against Common Core standards. And he said, this is his quote, "Somewhere our founding fathers are turning in their graves, pleading, screaming, and trying to say to us that we teach to free minds, we teach to inspire, we teach to equip. After that, the careers will come naturally." So if we focus on inspiring a thirst for knowledge and letting the states individually tailor their education system to what works for that state and come from an individual state desire to broaden the education system, the careers are going to come naturally after that. You're only focusing on passing a test to look better in college readiness. How do they determine that? She said the statistic that determined college readiness was the ACT. The Common Core standards have come about as a result of bureaucratic bribery, have destroyed a teacher's ability to teach, have set the United States on a course for educational backwardness rather than advancement, and concisely put, are in action solely to avoid criticisms of inaction. Essentially, we need to focus on inspiring students to continue their education throughout life. Education doesn't stop at the college level. Once you get the thirst for knowledge is what leads you to the better careers and the better job opportunities by continuing to learn throughout your life.
The debate focused on is Common Core standards and whether they're going to better the education of United States citizens rather than the debate of creativity versus standardized testing. These Common Core goals are based on an I do, you do, we do philosophy that is a lot of representation by the teacher will demonstrate, the student will take what they can and grow off of it, and then as they work together for a group collaboration. Yes, in the 21st century, to accurately depict if a student is ready for college is the ACT or SAT, and these ACT tests are showing that 51% are not prepared for college readiness. So with these Common Core standards, whether you're on the college track or not, this will be able to improve those students who are, which I have to say are the majority of the students in the United States system, because we have placed such an importance on education to compete with those countries. It's not looking better to a country, it's on if we can better our citizens for the future workforce that they're going to be competing with these international citizens with. 28% of students entering college need remediation in math and English. Is just outrageous that they've been through our education system, our K through 12 education system, our public education system, and we can't prepare them. This is too big of a statistic to just let go under the wayside. 6 million secondary students read below their grade level. So this is a statistic we clearly need to improve upon, which these Common Core standards will set goals and achievements, but not tell the teacher exactly how to do it so they can tailor it per class or per student. Like, we're not saying on if a state should be able to tailor it, because truly that's no more specific to a student than whether a teacher can do it or not. These Common Core goals, really, they allow interstate collaboration between states. They're allowed to say what works, what doesn't work, less costly by sharing these educational goals and standards, and they really provide sufficient guidance and clarity to students, parents, and teachers to know what they all should be doing on their part. So these Common Core standards really create international competitive students, make it easier to track progress, and overall would just improve the K through 12 education system. I thank you for the opportunity to speak.